She won't say it out loud, but when a woman turns her back to you in bed, she's not just showing you her body, she's showing you her trust. In that moment, she's silently asking, can you handle the parts of me I don't show the world? It's not just a sexual preference. It's a window into her soul. If a woman is interested in doggy style, it means she trusts you with her vulnerability. It means she's allowing you to take the lead in a space that's deeply intimate, deeply primal, and deeply psychological. See, this position is not just about pleasure, though yes, the pleasure is intense. It's about power dynamics. It's about release. It's about surrender. But here's what most men miss. When she shows interest in that position, it's not just a wild preference, it's often a signal that she's ready to explore a part of herself she may have been taught to hide. Society has fed women a story: be quiet, be gentle, be controlled. But when she chooses this, she's shedding the weight of that control. She's embracing her rawest form of expression. She's choosing freedom, not shame. And here's the thing. For many women, doggy style creates emotional distance in the physical act. No eye contact, no face-to-face intimacy. But that doesn't mean she's disconnected. In fact, it can mean the opposite. Sometimes, when a woman chooses this style, she's saying, I need to let go. I want to feel you take control, so I don't have to. She's offering you the reins, not because she's weak, but because she trusts your strength. So don't be quick to label her. She's not nasty, she's not dirty, and she's not easy. She's complex. And what turns her on speaks more about the emotional language of her needs than just physical hunger. Maybe she's been in control all day, at work, in life, in conversations. And now in this sacred space, she wants to feel dominated in a way that's safe. That's powerful. But let's go deeper. When a woman opens up about her sexual preferences, especially something like this, what she's really doing is testing you, not to see if you'll perform, but to see if you'll judge her, to see if you're capable of handling her honesty without making her feel small, to see if you'll honor her body without turning her into a fantasy. And I want to be very clear, when she chooses this, it also means she's in tune with her own desires. She knows what she likes. She's done the internal work to understand her body, to challenge the shame around female pleasure, and to stop apologizing for what feels good. That's not just sexy, that's rare. So if you're the man she chooses to share this with, don't ruin it by making it all about you. Be present. Be respectful, be responsive. The way you handle her preferences will echo in her mind long after the act is over. Will she feel empowered or exposed? Because in the end, it's not just about style, it's about substance. It's not about the position, it's about the permission she gives herself to enjoy. The permission she gives you to enter her world, not just her body. If a woman is interested in doggy style, it means she trusts you with her vulnerability. It means she's stepping into a space where control is willingly handed over and power is exchanged, not with fear, but with trust. It's one of the most primal positions, not because it's aggressive, but because it strips away the layers of performative intimacy. There's no eye contact, no conversation, no need to act pretty or polite. There's just her, open, raw, and real. And the man she chooses to experience this with, he isn't just some guy who got lucky. He's someone she believes can handle all of her. Her desire, her darkness, her release. When a woman chooses this position, she isn't just experimenting with physical pleasure. She's expressing an emotional need that often stays hidden beneath the surface. She could be saying, let me stop performing, or let me give up control for a moment. Maybe her whole life is full of responsibility, decision-making, structure, and pressure. And now, in that intimate moment, She doesn't want to be the strong one. She wants to let go, to be taken care of, to be ravished in a way that doesn't require explanation. There's healing in that, whether you realize it or not. For many women, especially those raised in environments where sexuality was something to be ashamed of or repressed, doggy style becomes more than just a preference. It becomes a statement. A declaration that says, I own my body, I know what I like, and I am done apologizing for it. That takes confidence. That takes a deep level of self-awareness. So when she tells you this is something she enjoys, she's not just opening her legs, she's opening a part of herself that's intimate, unfiltered, and brutally honest. She's giving you access to her authenticity. And yet, too many men don't see it that way. They hear doggy style and think it's a green light for selfish pleasure, for domination without care. But what she's really offering is something sacred, a kind of dance where she's trusting you to lead without hurting her. She's trusting you to be dominant without being disrespectful. She's trusting you to touch her in ways that arouse her body without bruising her spirit. And if you can't understand that balance, you'll never really know her, no matter how many times you've been inside her. You see, when a woman shares her preferences, she's not just trying to spice things up. She's watching you. She's feeling how you react. Do you laugh? Do you mock her? Do you take it as a cue to use her or as a chance to please her? Your response will tell her everything she needs to know about whether you're safe, about whether you're mature, about whether you deserve access to her. Not just physically, but emotionally. Because the truth is, women don't just want sex. They want to feel seen. They want to be understood in the silence, respected in the chaos, and cherished in the wildness of their desires. And let's be honest, doggy style is not for the emotionally shallow. It's not just about slapping skin or hitting angles. It's about rhythm, tension, listening to her body, noticing how she breathes, how she shifts, how she moans. If you're paying attention, you'll realize that position becomes a conversation, one where words aren't needed, one where you lead and she responds, where you take but only what she's giving, where dominance becomes an act of devotion, not ego, where the space between pleasure and pain is bridged by trust. And if she's letting you into that space, you better know how rare that invitation really is. When a woman shows interest in doggy style, it's often misinterpreted as just a kink or a physical preference. But for many women, it goes much deeper than that. It touches something psychological, emotional, and even spiritual. It's a doorway to a kind of surrender that's rarely talked about, a moment where she releases control in a way that's raw, unspoken, and deeply personal. This isn't just about arched backs and rough rhythm. This is about the trust it takes to turn your back to someone and still feel safe. The act might look physical from the outside, but inside her mind, it's an emotional experience layered with meaning. A lot of men think when a woman wants this, it means she's wild, freaky, or dirty. But often what it really means is that she's found a space where she can stop performing, where she doesn't need to maintain eye contact or wear a sensual mask. She doesn't have to fake anything. She can be purely in her body, letting go of everything else. In a world where women are constantly scrutinized, how they look, how they sound, how they behave, this one act becomes a chance to drop all that and just exist. It's a kind of freedom, a release not just of sexual tension, but of societal pressure. In that position, she doesn't need to be anything except present. And yet, many men don't realize the level of emotional intelligence required to truly engage her in that moment. Because it's not just about what you do, it's about how you make her feel. Are you present with her, or are you lost in your own pleasure? Are you connected, or are you treating her body like an object? Women feel that. They sense the difference. They know when they're being honored versus when they're being used. If she gives you access to that kind of vulnerability and you treat it with indifference or ego, she will never forget it. You won't just damage the moment, you'll damage her trust. There's also something about that position that brings out her hidden desires, the ones she might not say out loud. The desire to be dominated but respected. The desire to feel intensity without violence. The desire to lose herself while still feeling emotionally held. And if you can't understand those layers, you'll never understand her. This isn't about porn. This isn't about replicating some video you saw online. This is about tuning into her energy, feeling her shifts, knowing when to push and when to pause. It's a level of awareness that most men never cultivate because they never slow down enough to listen, not just to her words, but to her breath, her muscles, her stillness. Sometimes doggy style is a way for her to reclaim her power. Because when it's done right, it's not just the man in control, it's her allowing it. She's deciding to give that power, not because she's weak, but because she feels strong enough to surrender without fear. That is not submission, that is choice. That is clarity. That is self-awareness wrapped in sensuality. And if you don't see the strength in that, you're missing the whole point. There are also women who choose this because it allows them to go deeper, not just physically, but emotionally. For some, it's the only position where they can truly feel. It strips away distractions and leaves only sensation. And in that space, they're no longer thinking. They're simply being. Being touched, being desired, being free. For those few minutes, they're not juggling responsibilities or carrying emotional weight. They're not mothers, daughters, employees, or friends. They are just women, alive in their skin, unfiltered and unapologetic. When a woman shows interest in doggy style, it's easy to jump to surface level assumptions, but the truth is, this preference often carries a deeper emotional tone. It reveals a part of her that's not always shown in public. A hidden confidence, a silent cry for liberation, or a quiet challenge to tradition. Isn't always about lust. Sometimes it's about release. For many women, it represents a space where they don't have to maintain control, where they can just feel. And in that experience, she's not trying to impress, she's not trying to be anyone's fantasy. She's allowing herself to be exactly who she is, without makeup, without filter, without performance. It also opens up a particular vulnerability that's rarely discussed, because in that moment, she's not watching you. She can't read your face. She can't protect herself with expressions or small talk. She's turned away, exposed, and trusting you to not only handle her body, but to protect her in that very raw, unguarded moment. And if you truly understand that, you'll see that what she's offering is not just her body, but a kind of emotional nakedness. She's saying, I'm letting go. Do you know how to hold me, even when I can't see you? For some women, this position is an escape, not in a negative way, but in a freeing one. It's an escape from societal norms that have told her to keep her legs closed, her mouth quiet, and her feelings tucked away. It's her way of rebelling, of reclaiming pleasure on her own terms. She's not asking for permission, she's choosing. She's deciding how she wants to be loved, how she wants to be touched, how she wants to express her sexuality without being boxed in by shame or judgment. That kind of confidence doesn't come from nowhere. It's often earned through pain, healing, and deep inner work. At the same time, it's a way for her to observe you. She might be facing away, but she's listening. She's sensing. She's feeling every move you make and every intention behind it. She knows if you're there with her or just using her. She knows when your touch is considerate or careless. She knows when your rhythm is about her needs or just about your ego. And even if she doesn't speak on it in the moment, she stores that data. She remembers how you made her feel when she was at her most unguarded. It's also worth noting that for many women, doggy style provides a different kind of stimulation, one that hits deeper, both physically and emotionally. There's an intensity that allows her to connect with pleasure in a more primal way. But with that intensity comes a responsibility. A man who understands her body but not her emotions is a dangerous thing. She might still go through the motions, but she won't feel safe. She won't feel held. She won't feel free. And eventually she'll retreat, not because she didn't enjoy the act, but because she didn't enjoy who she became around you. Sometimes this position is the only space where she feels she doesn't have to perform. It's not about moaning louder or arching harder. It's about her letting go of control and embracing the moment. It's not just a sexual act. It's an energetic transaction. She's handing over the wheel, hoping you'll steer with care, with attention, with sensitivity. That's the part many don't talk about. That's the level most don't reach, because it takes more than physical attraction to unlock that kind of openness. It takes emotional intelligence, safety, and deep respect for the woman behind the desire. When a woman expresses her interest in doggy style, it's not just a physical position she's choosing, it's a psychological expression of desire, safety, and depth that most people never take the time to understand. She's not simply opting for a different angle. She's revealing an aspect of her inner world that often lives beneath the surface in a society that constantly pressures women to behave, to be polite, to stay composed. This preference is her way of breaking out of the mold. It's not rebellion for the sake of shock. It's liberation through sensation. It's a moment where she can shed the weight of expectations and simply exist in her own pleasure. Doggy style creates a dynamic where she is both in control and not in control, and that balance between surrender and power is intoxicating for women who are used to being in charge everywhere else. For the woman who manages households, leads teams, makes decisions, and carries the weight of emotional labor, this becomes her moment to relinquish all of it. Not because she's weak, but because she finally feels strong enough to let someone else take the lead. She is not giving away her power. She is choosing how and when to release it. That choice is everything. It means she feels secure enough with you to hand over the reins, to turn her back and still feel safe in your presence. It's also a space where her sensuality can unfold without interruption. There's something liberating about not having to be looked at, not having to perform intimacy for the sake of the other person. She doesn't have to worry about how she looks, what face she's making, or whether she's pleasing you visually. She can sink into her own body, into her own rhythm, into her own experience. That is rare. That is sacred. And if she invites you into that space, it's not because she wants to be used. It's because she wants to be felt, deeply and intentionally. Doggy style also triggers something animalistic in both people, a raw, instinctual energy that many suppress in the name of being civilized. But when it's done with awareness and care, it becomes more than just rough passion. It becomes a ritual of trust. It's one of the few positions where both people have to rely on nonverbal communication. She can't see your eyes, you can't read her face. So the entire moment becomes about energy, how your hands touch her back, how you respond to her breathing, how you adjust when she shifts. That level of awareness separates a selfish lover from a conscious one. For some women, this position allows them to access parts of themselves they didn't even know existed. Not just new sensations, but new emotions. Memories might surface, tears may come. Sometimes she's quiet, sometimes vocal. Sometimes she moves with you, sometimes she goes still. And all of it is her way of processing something deeper than physical stimulation. Her body is speaking for her, translating feelings she doesn't have words for. And if you're paying attention, you'll understand that what she's doing is more than just engaging in sex. She's inviting you to witness her in a moment of emotional transparency. Men who don't understand this often reduce the moment to performance, to dominance, to visual pleasure. But the real power in this position is not about who's in control. It's about how well the energy is being exchanged. Because when a woman bends forward, she is saying more than just yes to the act. She's saying yes to being seen in a different way. Not by the eyes, but by presence. Not by dominance, but by connection. It's an unspoken agreement that you will not just take from her, but that you will meet her where she is, with intention, with presence, and with care. So if she chooses this with you, understand the depth behind that choice. It's not just a position, it's a permission. A permission to access her in a way that goes beyond the body, into her emotions, into her trust, into the silent spaces she rarely lets anyone in. Handle her with presence, not ego. Touch her like she's more than skin. And remember, what you do in that moment won't just be felt in her body, it'll echo in her soul.